Welcome to Victory Health TV. I'm your host, Dr. Jake Parrish from victoryhealthcenter.com and Victory Health Radio. This is a Healthy People edition with Dr. Justin Moseley, the Mindset Doctor. He's got a free workshop for you on his website, Dr. Justin Moseley. He's got a big Facebook community. You can go find him there, and he's on Instagram at Dr. Justin Moseley. Man, it's really good to see you. I feel like life is kind of going full circle for us a little bit. I guess about 6 or 7 years ago, we were talking about doing some big things. As life has continued, dude, you're doing really, really big things. And so welcome to Healthy People.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I always love connecting with you, brother. And God is good. Love what he's doing in your life, in business, practice, the lives you're changing. And same for me. It's like when you focus on serving him, he opens doors you never even thought were possible.
That's absolutely correct, man. And so God is good, and that's a brotherly connection that we have. I wanted to talk to you today, and just to go ahead and get right into it. There's a lot of hurt people. There's a lot of confused people out there, and so I wanted to start a conversation with you today to help a lot of people that follow me, a lot of people that help to follow you, just to get the first couple steps of like what it looks like to get a hold of myself. And then I'm going to go through, I don't know if you've watched any of these episodes before, but I'm going to go through your Instagram and pull random Instagram posts and then ask you about them.
All right, let's do it, man.
So kind of first step, why did you, let's back up a little bit. What got you into being the mindset doctor?
Backtrack. My wife and I were both chiropractors. We practice in outside of Nashville, Tennessee. And man, just like you, we had a heart. We just want to serve people, change lives, make a difference. And God bless that. We had a thriving practice. Things were going great. Opened our practice in 2012. Along the way, about 2016, I ended up blowing my shoulder out, and was really tough. I mean, you know how it is. We want to serve people. I remember I kept pushing through. I would adjust. My shoulder would go out the back. I would have to pop it back in, just keep going.
Oh,
but it got so bad. I couldn't even lift my arm up anymore. Thought I was going to have surgery. Thankfully, I got stem cell, which saved me from having surgery. Just kept pushing through, kept growing the practice, got other doctors in there to help out. And then other doctors started coming to me and saying, hey, you guys are doing well.
Yeah.
Can you help me, man? I'm struggling. And of course, I have a heart for other chiropractors. And what I quickly realized, it was never their business. It wasn't their systems, their procedures. It was always their level of mindset or their level of personal growth and development. So I started working with them on that, and their business just took off. And I loved it. And then I just kept doing that on the side. And then in 2018, I actually went on a men's retreat, and we went whitewater rafting. And actually had a near-death experience. The raft tipped over. I got caught under the rapid, and it was pushing me down. And the last thing I remember thinking was, I'm not coming back up. And everything just went black.
Wow.
And then everything just went bright white. And it was the most peaceful feeling, most serene, meditative. Those moments when you're just worshiping God and everything, time just stops. Well, that's what this peaceful feeling was like. And in that moment, I heard a voice that said, wake up. And I came back to consciousness. I was actually pinned between two rocks underwater. And I tried to push, and I was stuck. And I kept pushing. Thankfully, adrenaline kicked in, and I pushed hard enough. I actually broke the buckle on my life jacket, was able to float up.
Whoa, man.
So yeah, it rocked me. It was crazy. And then, of course, we always question, like, why am I here? What is my purpose? What has God put me here to do? But in that moment, I questioned, why am I still here? Because things could have been completely different in that moment. And what I realized, yes, I was living my purpose. I was helping people. I was making a difference, but I was playing way too small. And God showed me he had so much bigger plans, more impact that I was supposed to make. But it needed me to step out of my comfort zone, because things were easy. The practice was going well. Life was great. But he showed me actually a message I heard from Stephen Furtick years ago. It's time to exchange your comfort for your calling. Ooh. So in that moment, I realized, man, I've just been comfortable. Yes, serving God, helping people. But man, I need to step out of my comfort zone and into my calling that God had in my life. And that's when I decided, like man, where it started was, okay, well, what can I do? How can I help more people? So I stepped back and I was like, okay, if money wasn't an issue, I could just do whatever I could that just brought me joy and that could help people. So I was like, I just want to put out content on mindset and personal growth and development. It changed my life. I know it can help other people. But even then, I was like, I don't know if anybody's going to listen.
Yeah.
But I just started putting stuff out and people listened. It started growing. I started a Facebook group in March of 2020. They grew to 1,000 members in the first month. So I was like, all right, great. People are loving this. And that led to more coaching. I run masterminds. I do mastermind retreats and just really focusing on just serving. How can I serve people? And I really want to help them step into their own power. Because I think a lot of people maybe lost their power along the way.
It's good.
Maybe they've gotten comfortable. And the good thing is, like, you don't have to have a near-death experience to have a change. Change happens in an instant. And yeah, a lot of you people aren't dealing with a near-death experience, but some of you are living a slow death in the life that you're living, in your job, in your relationships. Things are going down.
Yeah.
And it's time to wake up. Those two words that I heard, wake up, maybe that'll speak to you today, because God is calling you to step out of your comfort zone and into your calling.
Mm-hmm. Shoo, man, you left a lot on the floor there.
I'm passionate about it, as you know.
Oh, dude, I know it's so good. So yeah, I was, it's funny when you were saying that. I was you were telling that story, I was thinking some people even make an excuse that, you know what, I've never had a near death experience like that. But yeah, people are dying slow deaths, man. And when you said something, lost their power. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, and even I go back to the word, and it's like God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a strong mind. And I think of that word power.
Yeah.
Like when you're aligned with him and what he wants for your life, there's a power there. And that power allows you to overcome the fear that's in your life, because that's a lot of what holds us back, is our own fears, our own doubts, and our own worries, which comes to the mindset now. Because, and when, sticking with the power though, because I think the power determines how you show up in life. So I want people to step into their power so they can live with more purpose, passion, peace, and profit, because they help a lot of people in their business. And broke people can't help people. So I want to help them be profitable so they can serve and sow back into others. But it all comes to the power. And 2020 was rough for everyone. So the first thing to know is you're not alone. If there were times that you felt down, you felt broken, whatever it is, you're not alone. And I think a lot of people at first think this is only happening to me. I'm the only one feeling this. But no, we're in this together. A lot of us went through that. So the first thing is recognize that. And then secondly, I always tell people, you have to speak louder than the voices in your head.
Mm-hmm.
The voices in your head will tell you, hey, you can't do this. You're not smart enough. You're not good looking enough. Whatever the story is, I believe we create these stories, and the things that keep us from getting what we want are the stories we tell ourselves of why we can't have it.
That's right.
So instead, we need to tell ourselves a new story of what we can accomplish. And that's where positive affirmations really come in handy, because it actually can remind us of who we are and whose we are. And those affirmations can speak louder than those negative voices in our head.
Ooh. So I posted one of your incantations a while back on Instagram, and man, you just, when you speak into yourself, I had a cousin one time that said that that this is the most precious real estate that you'll ever own. And you can own hotels, you can own houses, you can own all kinds of stuff, but the most important real estate that you have is here. And you got to be really determinant on who gets a place in here and what gets a place in here. Because once it's filled up, you can't just continue. You can create capacity. I want to talk about that in a little bit, but there's this level of maxed out that of stuff that I don't need to be doing and I don't need to be putting in my head, and it goes away from my mission. And if I can release that and create a new story and create a new vision for my life, man, there's a lot of power in that. You know, we're supposed to we're supposed to reign over the earth here. We own the earth. The earth was given to us. We're supposed to be over it, and we own it. And yeah, we can't play small, and we can't be weak. And Satan would have us be there. I think culture would likes us to be weak and likes us to just kind of follow the leader and do whatever that somebody else says. Most people that you help, it's fear.
Yeah, fear is one of the biggest things that holds people back. And deep down, a lot of the fear comes from the feeling of I'm not enough or I don't know enough. There's this enoughness that's underlying. When you go back to the word, we are more than enough in God, but we try to do it on our own. But when we can surrender and let go and let God, man, he can start to multiply our actions. I mean, that's where multiplication comes from. In the natural, it's addition. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 equals, versus God's time is multiplied.
Yeah.
But you have to step back and not to try to do it on your own, and not the striving, which I'd work with a lot of people in business. And it's, what can I do? How can I push and grind and hustle?
Yep.
When no, that's not what it's about. It's about actually getting rid of a lot of the stuff that you're doing, focus on the priority, and let God multiply that action.
That's really good. I want to talk. Let's talk about that. So, one of your posts, you wrote, begin to imagine yourself living with bigger capacity. I think that's kind of where we're landing with that. What does that mean? What does that mean if I'm just randomly looking at your Instagram? Bigger capacity, like I need to have more?
No, capacity is like a container. Like if I have a 20-ounce water bottle, well, it can only hold 20 ounces of water. But then I have this container that holds like 40 ounces. So if I get a bigger container, I can actually hold more water. So it's all about expanding the size of your container. Your container is what you think you're capable of. So a lot of people set their own limitations of what they can accomplish. So they're walking around with their 20-ounce water bottle when God's saying, I have this whole fish tank I want to fill up, but you got to increase your capacity to be able to hold it. So it's all a mindset of walking out of what is your capacity, and being real with yourself. What is your capacity right now? What do you think you are? What do you think you can accomplish? And kind of be real. But then say, but God can accomplish way more than what I can. So if I had more capacity, what would that look like?
Yes.
Who could I impact? What could I do that can make a huge difference? Because again, God can do so much more than anything that we can say, think, and imagine.
That's beautiful. Yep, you can increase your capacity, exchange your comfort for calling. Ooh, good stuff, man. The obstacles in your life aren't holding you back from success. They're opportunities to learn and to grow, to ensure your success. What's that mean?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, we see the highlight reels on social media. We see all the good things that people are doing. So we look at their success and we think, oh, it was easy for them because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But we don't see all the obstacles that they overcame.
That's right.
And a lot of times that's what life is about. It's about not what you do, but it's about who you become along the way. And who you become is determined on the actual obstacles you face, and then you overcome those. A lot of times when people hit that obstacle, they actually let it defeat them. And they go backwards and they retreat. And they're like, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Versus, no, I hit that obstacle. What can I learn from that? What could I do differently next time? And you go out and try again, and you actually overcome and allow you to actually go to that next level.
How do I determine? I think this is a hard thing to do, man, especially when you're a missional person. How do I know when I'm really not supposed to do that, and that's why I keep on sucking at it, or to keep trying? Like how do I know the difference in that's a struggle, I'm supposed to blow through it, or there are these things in life that I shouldn't be a part of, and like I've tried 17 different mics on my radio show, and I always come back to the original mic. It's like just a big waste of money and a big waste of time. I've always had the best mic, but I always kind of look for something new. How do I know the difference between what I'm supposed to be doing and I get resistance and I need to blow through that, or I need to just not do that because that's not in my wheelhouse?
Yeah, yeah, and that's a tough one because it's part of it. There's a learning and growth cycle, and I'll probably actually be doing some content on this coming up. But any experience that we have in life is supposed to teach us something. We're supposed to learn a lesson.
Mm,
So if you find yourself continuing to repeat things over and over, it's probably because you haven't learned the lesson that experience was trying to teach you. So then once you learn the lesson, then you can say, okay, what am I supposed to do from here? Then I can grow from that. So then I can realize, you know what, maybe my sounds amazing and I don't need to spend any more money on trying to get better quality audio. I'm good.
yeah.
Or in life, maybe it's I kept failing over and over and over. Finally, you learn the lesson you're supposed to learn. Then you learn from that, and you actually grow. And when you grow, you become a better person that can actually allow you to take even more steps. But until you're ready to learn the lesson, you'll repeat the same mistakes over and over because that
Mm.
experience is trying to give you that experience to learn from.
That's really, really good. That takes a lot of discernment. It takes prayer. Just like
And
with,
that's huge because, yeah, a lot of times we try to figure it out on ourselves. And that's where it does the discernment, the time with prayer. People don't realize because I deal with a lot of high performers, people success driven, kingdom driven, but they want to achieve more and do more.
yeah.
But they don't realize it comes from being still. The word says,
Mm.
meditate on my word day and night. So the more time that we can step away from what do I need to do? What's my next step to being present in the moment and asking God, what should my next step be?
It's good. I went to a conference one time and the guy said, he said, sometimes you just have to rest in the blessing
Mm.
and just take your time and accept like where you're at and also see what you've already done. Like you've already really accomplished a lot. Just getting to where we are and getting a lot of people, they've really done a lot. If we can look back and go, man, you've really done a lot. And that is your stepping stone to your next step. There's also another picture you reminded me of something. There's a picture I posted on Instagram a while back, and it was a guy that was on stage and he was tossing up juggling plates. But there's like 20 steps behind him as he's going up to the stage, and there are just all kinds of broken plates. I mean, you couldn't even walk up the steps. There's so many broken plates. But yeah, so many people you don't really see the work on the back end a lot of times, and you don't see we see the outcome, not the work put into it, and we compare ourselves to that too, and that's hard to do. Dr. Justin, is compare ourselves, especially when I'm starting to grow or I'm starting this process, comparing myself to that person. Sometimes I just want to kind of walk in their path and be um, step on the shoulders of a legend that's already been there before me and take their advice and then add my own thing to that. I think it's a beautiful thing. We kind of didn't finish this story. I want to talk about, so you floated to the top of the river.
In the moment, I floated over to the side of the river, got out, took a break, kind of caught myself there. And anybody that's had like a traumatic wreck, something like that, you know that feeling afterwards. Like, uh, yeah, it shakes you for sure. But then I got home from that trip, and that's when I start really processing what's the lesson here, like we talked about. In the experience, there's a lesson in there. So I started processing, okay, and that's when I found that question. God revealed that to me to ask, why am I still here? That way he could show me, hey, you're playing life way too small.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're making an impact, you're making a difference, but I have such a bigger plan for you. But even then, I didn't know what that looked like. So that took a lot of prayer, discernment, and waiting, which is the hardest part, because like you said, we just want to go to the next thing.
Yeah.
And even when we do have this success over here or the blessing, we're not grateful in the moment because we're just thinking about what's the next thing.
Yeah.
What's that next thing we can accomplish? So it took a while of just, hey, I know I'm called to serve and make a bigger impact, but I don't know what that looks like. So I
Yeah.
kept praying about it and seeking his guidance. And then finally it was just revealed to me in his timing.
You're the mindset doctor. You are, dude. You where where did you kind of start that process? I think we kind of started this kind of stuff together, and just growing through our initial practices and that kind of thing. Um, the word mindset, just in general, when somebody says, "Man, you've got a bad mindset," you got a healthy mindset. We've got a good mindset. What does that mean? What is, if you could define mindset? What would that be?
Yeah, I would say it's more of an outlook on life.
Okay.
It's the way you see things. And because you can have a positive mindset is way different than a negative mindset. It gives you a different outlook, a different frame, a different lens of the way you see the world. So if you can train yourself to have more of a positive mindset, more of a
Mm,
growth mindset, and start taking actions with that type of mindset, because it's not about the events that happen in our lives, it's how we respond to those events. Because something could happen in our life and we can get down about it, we could sulk about it, we could even get depressed about it. Or we can say, ask ourselves the question, what was the lesson there?
mm,
Then how can I be proactive? Maybe I need to meditate. Maybe I need to spend more time in prayer, seeking the Lord. And then from that same event, I could have a positive outcome versus letting myself get negative from it. But that all comes from the mindset of knowing, hey, in anything, the good and the bad, there's always a lesson and there's always a reason. And if I can continue to push forward, find the positive,
yeah.
and seek God's guidance, he's going to help you through it.
Why do we think that we're not worthy? Like we think that even when I know I'm pretty sure that when you, maybe not, but definitely for me, we, our serving hand is so much bigger than our money hand, and we'll give a lot
Yeah.
away, and we'll put so much effort into this, and we do want this though, and we deserve this as Christians. A lot of times we um somehow in our minds we think that we have to be like super poor or something, or we have to be, it's only about serving and the energy that I put out. But when I start to raise this other side up, this business financial hand, I can dump this over into other people and bless other people with that. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. What is it about our nature that's like we don't deserve that, or we're not worthy of that?
Yeah, and there's definitely a money mindset, which is a whole different type of mindset. And I work with a lot of people on money mindset. And it's harder for Christians because we're grown up and we hear in the word that money is the root of all evil and give to the poor and all these things,
Yeah.
which creates this negative connotation instead of spending time of, like you said, if you have the money, what can you do with that? How can you bless others with that? And a good analogy is like you look at Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, yes, she lived a poor lifestyle, but it took millions of dollars to actually orchestrate the ministry that she did. She
Mm,
flew around on private jets. She had all these resources because that's what it took to actually make the impact that she needed to make. So if you're looking at that, if you're looking at, hey, I just want to make the money because I just want to go retire and lay on a beach all day,
yeah.
that's completely different. But if
Yeah.
you have that mindset of, I can use this money to bring honor and glory to God. And a great example, we had a patient years ago, very successful business owner, very wealthy, and he used his wealth to be an example for the Lord. He was very involved in his church, but even he had people over to his house that were doing some work on his house. And they're like, man, how did you afford this? And he
Mm,
used that as an opportunity of talking about the blessings that God had given him in his life and how being faithful to the Lord had created this fruit in his life.
yeah.
And he brought them to the Lord by using the fruit that God had blessed him with.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we don't look at it like that. We're ashamed. Like we can't make this much money. We can't drive this car or have this house. We can't have things,
Right.
but you can. It's all about the heart.
Yeah, that's
It's all
right.
about your heart and where your heart is with the Lord, and protecting your heart and your mind too, because you can get caught up on, well, looking on social media. Oh, these people are on vacations. These people are doing that. I just want to go do more of that stuff.
Yeah,
Versus, no, what has God called you to do?
that's good. Ooh, that's good. So, because I think when success for you may not be success for me,
Yeah.
right? That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. We all have to determine, and that's the biggest question I start with people is, what do you want? Because when you ask people what they want, most people don't know. They'll tell you all the things they don't want. I don't want to have this type of job. I don't want to live here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Most people don't know what they want because they don't actually spend time thinking about it
That's
and actually
good.
seeking the Lord and saying, because the Lord will give you desires of your heart. Well, how do you determine the desires of your heart? By seeking Him. The more you get into the Word, the more the Word gets into you, and then the more God can do through you. So it all goes back to that, is determining what you want based on your principles, your values, and determine what success is for you. And then you can make a plan towards reaching that.
I really like that. Just everything is out of a lens of kingdom work,
Yeah.
and it's really it's really neat, man. Once again, I think that it's hard to it's just hard for some people to get over themselves and to get over like this the maybe the even the weak person that they were. It's hard to get over our past failures, and you name it. I want to talk about this hit me actually pretty good the other day, and I shared it with my son, and we talked a lot about it, and it was this, and you wrote this on Instagram. You don't solve problems in the middle of the problem. You have to take a step back and give yourself space to actually process it. Can you go through that with my people, and talking about processing that, and being patient to go through that?
Yeah. And that goes back to the mindset of processing, going through, what is the lesson I'm supposed to learn here?
Yep.
Because when you're going through something, all you're thinking about is that problem. And you're trying to think about, how can I solve it? How can I get out of this? What's my next step? And that's natural. That's what our human tendency does. But you don't really find the answer in that moment because you're so focused, you're so one track mind on trying to do one thing.
Yeah.
Versus if you step back, then you basically get a 30,000 foot view of the problem. And you may see a lot of other ways out of that problem that you never even saw because you just had tunnel vision.
That's good. Reaction. This is classical American. It's classic, even medicine. It's classical, just culture. Reaction. Something happens. I got to react to it. A lot of times I react wrong to it, and then 2 weeks later I'm thinking about it, and I'm going, man, I shouldn't have done that, or that was the wrong move, or whatever it is. Yeah, taking the time to process life and not rushing through it. Culture, the way that social media is, the way that the world is moving, and the speed at which is moving, it doesn't seem like I really have time to process it. But if I don't take the time to process it, then the future, the next, who knows, the next month, a year, 2 years, it could be clogged up because of something that I didn't deal with in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff. Um, you are how do we connect with you? So drjustinmoseley.com. If I wanted to get coaching from you, or I wanted to really take that next step with the mindset doctor, how do I plug in?
Yeah. So if you're looking for help, I mean, you could DM me, Facebook, Instagram, either one. Just tell them you heard me on this podcast and would love to have a conversation with you. Just see kind of where you're at and if I can help you. Because that's the thing too. I don't help people I can't help. And I have a lot of other people and resources I'm connected with too that I could refer people to that could be a better fit. But if I can help you, I'll definitely let you know that as well. I do have I do a 90-day mastermind that helps people shift their mindset, helps them step into their power, overcome limiting beliefs and things that are holding them back. So I'll run those every 90 days. So I have that coming up, but then also just my Facebook group. It's free. It's the Mindset Doctor community.
Yep.
I put a lot of great information in there.
Cool. So time's up. I've really enjoyed just this. There's a lot to unpack, and so I hope that people actually stop to unpack this. You've been watching Healthy People with Dr. Justin Moseley. I'm Dr. Jake Parrish from Victory Health Radio and victoryhealthcenter.com. If you ever have any questions about anything, you can always give me a holler. 865-357-2600 is the number to the office, victoryhealthcenter.com, the website to the clinic. Dr. Justin Moseley from Music City Health Center and the Mindset Doctor, dude. You're the best of the best. I thank you for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me, man. This is fun.
Thanks. Have a good one.